Honey,
Sure.
honey, Kinsan. How are you?
I'm good at you.
I'm good. I want to feature you in my episode today. Um, you came to me the other day saying that you were daydreaming about Rolls Royce. I want to talk about that for a minute, but then I also want to talk about it and try to teach the ladies and gentlemen up there something. Hopefully, I can do that. Hopefully, I can manage that. I hope I do because I'm miserable. I'm horrible at this. So, you want to have a Rolls Royce, right?
No, it's actually a Bentley, but okay, yeah.
Oh, you want to have a Bentley Bentayga for you and a Rolls Royce for dad. Okay, so I'm assuming we're just gonna stick to the Rolls Royce because this whole idea in my mind was based on the Rolls Royce. Since it's for dad, I'm assuming you're not talking about a Rolls Royce Ghost because they don't make Wraiths anymore. Okay.
Cullinan. He
So
wants
you
a
don't think you'd want
Cullinan.
the Big Daddy Phantom? Okay, fine. We'll
He
stick with
wants a
the
Cullinan.
cool. Thanks, you know what he wants. Cool. So we'll go with the RR Cullinan. We'll just like Carl because we don't have time to be spelling with Cullinan the whole time. How much is a Cullinan?
I don't know.
Well, it's a Rolls Royce. It's a bespoke car, which means that they make one specifically for you. And, they make it. You have to give the guys in Goodwood, which is a place in England where they make the car, a call, or whatever it is that you actually have to do. And, talk to them about what color you want. If it's pink, dad likes gold. So I'm assuming it's going to be gold, which is more expensive.
No,
And,
but okay, yeah.
he doesn't like gold.
No, I'm just saying I won't buy him a gold one.
So you're going to buy him a pink one?
No, not pink.
What color Rolls Royce are you going to buy him then?
Black.
But he likes gold.
Yeah, but I'll buy him a black one.
Bottom line, it's gonna get a very expensive car, which in South African rands is probably something like 20 million, right? I mean, it's a lot of money. Do you agree? Cool. Now you're the one buying this, so you are going to have this 20 million, right? Now, 20 million rands is an amount that you can. Okay, in order for you to afford an asset like that for 20 million rands, you're either going to one have 20 million in cash, or two get a loan from the bank, which we call financing. That is not how you spell financing. That was an E. I know you guys can't see what I'm writing. I'm just doing it mainly for her. So you can either get it on finance or cash, right? Which option would you like us to explore first?
Cash.
Cash. Brilliant. So we're now talking about having 20 million rands in cash that you can spend on a car, an expensive car, a Rolls Royce, a Rolls Royce Cullinan, which costs around 20 million rands. It costs that much because it's a very special car. You you call the guys, you tell them the spec that you want. Sometimes they actually invite you to go to Goodwood where you actually talk to a specialist who shows the colors, the different leathers, the different everything, and you make it specifically for you, which is a bespoke program that they have. And you'll splurge out about 20 million rands, and in a few months they'll have it delivered to you. So you're talking about having this done in cash. You have the money left in your account. You've paid all your taxes for the year, and now you have 20 million rand left in your account that you can then spend, and you want to spend it on a Rolls Royce for your father. Cool. Now, this can be one of a few things. You're going to have at least 20 million rand in your account, right? And I'm like, okay, here's 20 million rand. I'm assuming you're going to want him to have some money as well because he's going to have to operate the thing afterwards. But anyway, you're going to have at least 20 million rand in your account because after you try and make a transfer of 20 million rand, you have nothing else. But in order for you to get this car, which costs 10 million rand, you're going to have at least 20 million rands. But not only will you have to have 20 million rands, you also have to have what we call transaction fees, right? Because when you make a transaction even at a store or whenever, you actually pay fees for the bank to facilitate that transaction. So you won't have to have just 20 million, you'd have to have 20 something million. I'm not really sure how much the transaction fees for such a huge transaction will be, but you'll need to have more than 20 million. Now I can have, let's say, 21, 22, 25 million, or you could have like 100 million because he's your father. You want to be able to buy him a car, but you still want to be able to have some money left to buy your own car. Maybe you will have bought your own car already. But let's say you'll need to have somewhere between 20 million to 100 million. A minimum. You can have more, of course. You can be a billionaire. But say you have 100 million, you spend 20 million on the car, you still have 80 million left, minus the transaction fees, of course. Cool. And of course, after that, you're still going to have to operate the vehicle. Okay, this whole thought process was thought around you owning the car and not dad owning the car. In which case, if he has the money, then it's his. It's up to him to put in petrol on it or whatever. But let's say you're the one who wants to put petrol in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge 6.75 liter engine that uses a lot of petrol. So you're gonna wanna have some money left in order to be able to operate that vehicle. Of course, you'll also need to pay insurance and a few other things, but I'm assuming he'll have a car ready. He's not going to drive the Rolls Royce Canon every day, so it's not going to be that much, but you'll need some extra money on top of that, right? So that is the cash option. Of course, now there's also the finance option.
Mm-hmm.
Finance option, looking at something that costs 200,000 rand, we're talking about, I think, 4,000 rand in installment, monthly installment, which means 2 million rand would be talking about something like 40,000 rand. 20 million rands, then we'll be talking about something like 400,000 rand per month that you'll have to have. So you would have to be having a job or a business or whatever that is able to give you 400,000 rand at least per month that you'll be able to pay to the bank that lends you money to buy the car for you. So the finance option means that you call up a bank and say, yo, so I want to buy a Rolls Royce. Oh, what are we buying a Rolls Royce for? For my dad. All right, cool. We can, finance you with this much. The amount that they need to finance is about 400K, 400,000 rands per month in order for you to be able to buy that vehicle. Of course, I'm just throwing numbers around here. These numbers aren't accurate, but I'm making a point. I'm making a point, right? Are you bored?
No.
Okay. So every month you'll have to have 400K plus however much you will have to spend or he will have to spend on operating the car every month, right? So again, it goes to say that you would have to have as disposable income. Disposable income is the amount that you have left after you've paid taxes. Okay, taxes are last, but let's just say in this particular case, taxes, rent, bond for your house, school fees if you have kids, which you don't want, but fine, I'm just saying. All these other things that you pay, TV, blah, blah, blah. After you've paid all those things, you must be able to have at least 400,000 rand. So for the bank to say, yes, we can pay 20 million to Rolls Royce, and then you pay us 400,000 rand every month, so that, to pay back that thing for a few years. And these are the options that you have, whether you get the finance option or the cash option, right? Fine, that's perfect. Now, have you seen cars this week?
Yes, a lot.
A lot of cars, right? I like that you said that. You see a lot of cars, right? Do you know the prices of cars?
Not really.
Okay. I'm going to just go out on a limb here and tell you that the cars that you see, they range from 50,000, so 50K, to about 400,000. This is the cash price, not the per month price. Remember, this is a per month. Don't confuse this and this. This is a cash price. Of course, you do see more expensive cars, but like the ones that you see the most are within this range. If you go out here, look at this parking lot that you see outside, most of the cars are going to fall within this range. You maybe 2, 3, if even one is going to be above 400,000. Probably one is going to be below 50,000. That is cash. Yeah? A lot of cars that you see, this way they fall. And you say, how many cars have you seen in the past week, past 7 days?
Yo.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
How many Rolls Royces have you seen in your life?
I don't see them live.
You've never seen one?
No.
So the number of Rolls Royces you've seen in your life is 0.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this world where there's so many people and you're seeing all these people in your Instagram, they're living life, nice life, do you think the area we live in, you going to school and wherever else you go, is it like a poor area? Do you not expect to see expensive cars? We're in Gauteng. Do you expect to see expensive cars?
Yeah.
By the way, I saw a Rolls Royce yesterday. I also saw a McLaren. I'm just saying. I'm always on the road, so who knows. But I'm just saying, what's Rolls Royce Wraith though? Was it a Wraith? No, it wasn't a Wraith. It's a Ghost. It was a Ghost. Sorry. So this is not a poor area, you'd say, right? I mean,
Average.
average area. Have you gone around like expensive, rich areas?
Not
Not
really.
really. So I guess it makes sense that you haven't really seen any.
Rolls
You've been to
Royce.
Zanton though, right?
Yes.
Did you see any Rolls Royces when you were
No.
there? Mm. You've been to Empress Palace
Yes.
and Rolls Royces there.
No, I
Any
always.
other fancy places you've been to that you can maybe say, maybe I'd expect to see a Rolls Royce here, but I didn't see it?
Yes, I'd expect to see a Rolls Royce in Sentin, but I.
So essentially, this is a car that we know stuff about, but we understand that people do not have this car. Which means the people who can afford, of course, some people can afford it, but some people choose not to buy it. But even if a Rolls Royce is 20 million, there's also cars that you can get for like 5 million. And how many of those do we see around the road? Right? So my point here is here's a car that's very expensive. Obviously, a lot of people want to have it, but obviously, not so many people do have it. Now, here comes the important question. You are saying this car that I never see that costs a crazy, obscene amount of money that very few people have is the car that I want. Now, obviously, in order to be able to afford that car, there's a certain lifestyle, if that is spelled correctly. That is spelled
Yeah.
correctly? Thank you. You need to be leading a certain lifestyle and you need to be doing certain things in order to be able to have this much money or in order to be able to be in a financial situation where the bank is saying that we are going to give you 20 million, well, pay some your 20 million debt, and then you'll pay us katongo katongo, right? What sort of lifestyle do you think that is? Reading books, do you think that is part of it?
Yeah.
So books would be part of your life. TikTok,
No.
Instagram.
A bit.
So little. Nope, let me use your words. Let me not use my words. A bit. TikTok.
And Instagram.
TikTok. And Insta. Like, do you think there'd probably be like seminars, business seminars, leadership seminars, business classes, like places where people go to learn about business and to understand, like okay, maybe I'm going about this all wrong. What sort of job do you think you can get that will allow you to have this much money?
I don't-
Do you think there is?
yeah.
Definitely, there is a job that will allow you to. Do you think this job will allow you to have that much money, like in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of working?
Maybe 4 5.
So you think that if you get a job within 4 years of working, you will be able to afford this. So in your life, you go around seeing so many cars on the road and very little Rolls Royces. You still think that a lot of people, because a lot of people have been working for more than 4 years, some have been even working for more than 10 years. You think that a lot of people actually make this much money. They just decide, no, I'm just going to drive a 300,000 rand car.
Yeah, like it's their decision.
Really?
Really.
How long has your father been working?
I don't know.
And you think he just decides, yeah, I'm just going to drive this
It
car?
won't be the same job.
Great. So what jobs are we talking about here? Because we need to be specific. Doctor.
Lawyer.
So like what kind of doctor
Business
is it?
owner. I want to be a gynecologist.
So gynae. Have you spoken to a gynae?
No.
Okay. So then there's a lawyer as well you mentioned there. Like what kind of lawyer are we talking about? Do you know?
Commercial, marriage.
Commercial lawyer. Have you spoken to any of them?
No.
Have you seen them in Rolls Royces?
No.
Oh, okay. Do you like see them on TikTok maybe? I mean, you mentioned that they've been
No.
Instagram?
I don't know.
What about these gynaes? Are they maybe on TikTok?
No.
And
I don't
Instagram?
know.
I mean, they're out there driving Rolls Royces and none of them are sharing their pictures
I'm
and
not
videos.
sure.
Okay, cool. So, we also mentioned business here. And you think, like 3-4 years of business and, you're going to be
It'll
having
be a
20.
very big business.
So your business just grows and grows so big within 4 years. It's just really a yes or no question, really. It's not a difficult question. Am I asking difficult questions? Yeah, I'm just really asking like simple questions.
I don't know. I think so.
Okay, cool. Let's just erase everything here. Do you have questions for me?
No.
Okay. The point that I'm trying to make, a company like Rolls Royce knows their clients tend to be to that they know them on a personal level. Now, if you think about the people who drive polos, for example, do you think the guys at VW know these guys on a personal level? I mean, there's like a million of them. Would you be able to know a million people? You wouldn't. It's just practically impossible to know that. But because Rolls Royce are only five in the world, okay, not exactly five.
Not
There's
five.
not too many of them. It is possible for these guys to know them at a personal level. The reason for that is that there's very few of them. The reason there's very few of them is because they have taken the road less traveled. The reason a road is less traveled is because it is difficult. It is boring. It is crazy. It is stressful. Now, I'm not saying that we cannot take these routes. Of course, we can, we should. And I really implore that a lot of people do decide to take the more difficult routes to get to where they're going. But I'm saying that we need to understand that we don't see a lot of these cars, we don't see a lot of these big mansions, not because people decide they don't want them. A lot of people want them. A lot of us actually do want them. But very few people are willing to do what it takes to actually get there. Now, of course, it is boring to sit down, read, educate yourself, attending seminars, learning stuff you don't know about, starting a business, suffering through growing that business. It takes a lot, but that's what it takes to actually be considered as a Rolls Royce client. The reason you don't see them all everywhere out there, it's not because people don't want them. People want them. The reason you see people packing these cars is probably, it's not like they don't want to buy something that costs 800,000 rand. They do, but they can't. The reason they can't is because they don't. Okay, some of them actually can't. They don't have the capacity to do that. But a lot of people do have the capacity to do it. But they decide, instead of me actually going through the difficulty, the hardships, struggling, sacrificing friendship, sacrificing television, sacrificing Instagram, sacrificing so many things. Of course, there are people who make it with these things, but in most cases, the typical Rolls Royce owner, first of all, is old. Yes, the average age of Rolls Royce owner is decreasing every year, but generally, the owner of a Rolls Royce is an old man, someone like dad's age, which works out well if you're going to be buying him a Rolls Royce. But they're not there because they just started working 4 years prior. They're there because they started working many years prior, and it took them so much time to grow their businesses to be big, as you're saying, a big business. It took them a long time for them to accumulate enough funds in their specialty. If they're going to be a doctor, if they're going to be a lawyer, if they're going to be whatever, to become specialized and to be able to charge high amounts of money, to be able to accumulate so much funds, to be able to afford a car like this. It takes time. It takes sacrifice. It takes a lot of work. But most importantly, it takes a lot of education. And by education, I don't mean schooling. Of course, some schooling is required, but mostly educating yourself in whatever it is that you want to get into. If you want to be a businessman, educate yourself in how business work, what to do, who to call, where to start, blah, 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 blah. All the questions that even I can't think about right now. Ask all those questions. If it ever at any day you see a person who drives a Rolls Royce, it's probably going to be difficult. But if ever you see someone who drives like a 2 million rand car, talk to them. How did you get here? Because before you get to 20 million, you have to get to 2 million. Figure out how they got there. They might be willing to tell you. Some of them are. And they tell you. Of course, they're going to tell you what it's probably something you don't want to hear, that you have to work and work and work and blah, blah, blah. But then that's what you have to do. You have to get into that space. You have to do what they do. You have to understand that you cannot be living the same life that other people are living. Because the same life that other people are living is the same life that has them driving around in these cheap ass cars that we see them driving around in. Mind my language. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So what I'm trying to say here today with this video is not that your dreams are not valid. It's not that you shouldn't want to buy a Rolls Royce. You should, and I really hope that you do. All I'm saying is that you need to understand what it takes to be able to get to something that is that expensive, something that is that exclusive, something that very few people have. It's not something that everyone has, and it's not by mistake. It is by people actually sacrificing a lot and doing a lot of work to get there. Questions?
No.
Want to say something to the guys?
Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching. I hope this was a valuable lesson to everyone. She just got a new hairstyle and stuff going on there. Thank you, thank you.
Oh,
I don't know. I hope I made the point I was trying to make here. Do wish for very good things. Do wish for nice things, but do understand the work that you have to put in order to get there. I love you guys so much. See you on the next one.